Hey explorers, pack your bags because today we are off to Angola. Before we dive into why Angola is so expensive, let's take a quick look at the country itself. Angola is located on the west coast of Africa and borders Namibia to the south, Zambia to the east, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and the Republic of Congo to the north. It borders the Atlantic Ocean to the west. With an area of 1.25 million square kilometers, Angola is the seventh largest country in Africa and is rich in natural resources, especially oil and diamonds. Around 37 million people currently live in the country, whose national language is Portuguese. The country's capital is Luanda, a lively and fast-growing city right by the sea. To understand why Angola has economic problems, we need to take a look at the past. The country's history is characterized by conflicts that have left their mark to this day. Let the journey through time begin. Historical happenings. Angola had been a Portuguese colony since the 16th century, but in the 1960s, resistance to colonial rule grew. Three different liberation movements, the MPLA, UNITA, and FNLA, fought against the Portuguese army. In 1975, after the Carnation Revolution in Portugal, the colonial power withdrew and Angola became independent. But instead of peace, a bloody civil war broke out between the former freedom fighters, a proxy war of the Cold War, in which the Soviet Union and Cuba in particular supported the MPLA, whilst the USA and South Africa supported UNITA. Even after the end of the Cold War, the war in Angola continued, with catastrophic consequences for the civilian population. After almost 27 years and over 500,000 deaths, the civil war ended in 2002 following the death of UNITA leader Jonas Savimbi, whereupon a peace agreement was concluded. However, Angola is still suffering from the consequences of the war today. The entire infrastructure was destroyed. Roads, power grids, water supply, everything had to be rebuilt. Experts estimate the cost of reconstruction at over 300 billion US dollars. This enormous expenditure is still a burden on the economy today. After almost 3 decades of war, peace finally returned to Angola. But that did not automatically mean prosperity. Instead, a new chapter began. The race for the country's valuable raw materials. But why didn't it make Angola rich? The oil economy. Curse or blessing? Angola is one of the largest oil producers in Africa. Did you know that? Around 1.1 million barrels are produced every day. But unfortunately, a lot of oil does not automatically mean a lot of prosperity for everyone, as the example of Venezuela shows. The economy is extremely dependent on oil, which means that other sectors, such as agriculture, are neglected. Just imagine, 95% of all export revenues come from the oil business. 95%. That sounds like a golden source of money at first, but is actually a huge problem. Because when global oil prices fluctuate, the entire economy falters. Diamonds and other natural resources account for just under 4% of export earnings. Here you can already see how little Angola produces apart from its raw materials. The result? Even food has to be imported at a high price. There's a lack of infrastructure, poor road connections, and a lack of functioning ports that could make the movements of goods efficient. And who pays for this in the end? Exactly, the customers. A lack of economic diversification also prevents stability. There's hardly any manufacturing industry worth mentioning. In this context, I recommend our video about the Dutch disease, which will be published on our channel shortly. Another major problem is the currency situation. The Angolan kwanza has lost dramatically in value since 2014, more than 70%. Import costs continue to rise due to the weak national currency. Almost all consumer goods are affected. According to Market Screener, Angolan's kwanza is Africa's worst performing currency in 2023. The annual inflation rate fluctuates between 13 and 40%. This means that prices are constantly rising while people's money is becoming worth less and less. The following chart shows that there's little calm here. In comparison, most sub-Saharan African countries have the following inflation rate. If you compare the two, you can see that Angola is worse off than the average. Oil could be a golden source of money for Angola, but instead it is one of the main causes of economic instability. And when it comes to missing billions, we are on to the next big problem. While the oil was gushing, a few became immensely rich. Corruption. After independence in 1975, a system of systematic enrichment developed under the 38-year rule of President José Eduardo dos Santos. His family, in particular his daughter Isabel dos Santos, amassed a fortune running into billions. The oil sector is especially affected by corruption. For decades, the state oil company Sonangol was used as a personal treasury for the elite. Licenses, contracts, and concessions were and are often awarded according to non-transparent criteria. The exciting thing is that Isabel dos Santos was appointed CEO of Sonangol by her father in 2016. Dos Santos is considered the richest woman in Africa and Africa's first female billionaire. The Luanda leaks of 2020 revealed details about this network of corruption, including Isabel dos Santos, which contributed to the oil and diamond-rich Angola being characterized by poverty. However, the Transparency International Corruption Index shows an improvement in recent years. Out of a total of 180 countries assessed, Angola has improved from 164th place in 2016 to 121st place in 2024. Nevertheless, a score of 32 out of 100 points still means that Angola is highly corrupt. This deters foreign investors and makes many business processes unnecessarily expensive. Imagine having to pay additional fees for every normal administrative process. Corruption has not only weakened the country financially, it has also made people's everyday lives more expensive. Luanda, prices from another world. Think of the most expensive cities in the world. Names like Zurich, New York, Tokyo, or Paris often come to mind. However, Luanda, the capital of Angola, is rarely mentioned. How does this city manage to keep up with these big names in terms of price? Let's look back. Angola has many oil resources. Many Angolan citizens have little idea how to extract oil. Experts from other countries are needed here. Most foreign workers who come to Luanda work in the oil and construction industry and have very high salaries. However, they also expect a Western standard of living: modern apartments, safe neighborhoods, international schools for their children, and restaurants with familiar dishes. But all this is only available in limited quantities in Luanda, and what is scarce is expensive. International companies pay extremely high rents for the expats in the safe neighborhoods. An average house in a good location can easily cost $10,000 a month in rent. These prices are paid because companies have little choice. They need secure accommodation for their employees. Private security services and gated communities are standard. Because public infrastructure is often unreliable, expat accommodation must be equipped with its own power supply, water treatment, and internet. This private infrastructure is very expensive. These costs are borne by the companies, but drive up the general prices. Those who particularly demand Western products pay an even higher price. A simple apple, $4. A burger in a restaurant, $30 to $40. That may still be affordable for experts, but for locals it's unaffordable. For years, Luanda was one of the most expensive cities in the world for expats. Since 2024, it is no longer at the top. The drastic devaluation of the local currency has meant that the cost of living for foreign workers has fallen compared to other cities. To summarize, Angola is expensive due to a difficult infrastructure, a lopsided economy, corruption, and high input costs. The country has an exciting history and beautiful nature, but the economic challenges cannot be overlooked. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget, like, subscribe, and share the video. See you next time.